All right. Well, hello everybody. This is Doug from Dynamic Computing, and welcome to a special live episode of 10 Minute Amiga Retrocast with my very special guest that everybody knows, Pixel Vixen.
Hi there, everybody. Thanks, Doug. Good to be here. So, really excited about tonight.
I'm very excited too. Now, before we get into things, let's just make sure that everybody can hear us okay, that the levels are okay. So you can hear me talking. Vicky, you go ahead and sing us a song or something like that, and make sure your levels are okay for everybody.
Oh dear, old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Don't worry, don't adjust your sets, guys. That's just as good as it gets from my voice.
Wow. You've truly missed your calling.
mm,
You could have been a professional
I
singer.
have. Well, I was going to say professional something.
Okay. Domestog Poten says Vicky is a lot louder than Doug. Well,
Okay,
she may be. Let's turn Vicky down a little bit.
well,
There, I'll take Vicky's level down a few notches. Can you please do us the honor of singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm again to make sure levels are okay now?
oh, I think I can remember the words. Old MacDonald still had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Oh dear. Yes, enough of that,
Error 42.
Hopefully that's better, guys.
Error 42 says, Doug is quieter. Sounds better than saying Vicky is loud.
Don't worry. Most people have been looking for a volume control for me for many a year, so I'm kind of used to that remark. So,
That's too funny. That's too funny. All
Mhm.
right. So now that we have our. Oh, Pints and Amiga says smidge low all around. Okay. My mic is up as high as it can go. I guess you just have to turn up your volume a little bit. Okay. So I think we're okay. So all right.
Good, good.
Let's get things rolling then. So as many of you in the chat know, Vicky and I decided a few months back to put on an art competition uh, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's a way to get the community together, get the community to talk more, get to know more people in the community. And it's also a way to make people see that the Amiga, even today, is good for more than just playing retro games, which it does a fantastic job at. And people like the
Mhm.
Amigos, people like Jack from Pints and Amiga, and Keith from Amigarama, they've got the gaming side covered perfectly. And Vicky kind of does a little in between there. She does a lot of game streaming, which is fantastic, and she also does a lot of presentation of actual Amiga programs, the art programs that she does. And we just wanted a way to get more people involved in that side of the Amiga. Do you agree, Vicky?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing that I always like to say is that a lot of the content on YouTube, probably up until I'd say that there's always been some sort of content that's been about the Amiga's more computer orientated side, shall I say, the more productivity side, but it's more just been sort of a few videos of some very cool demonstrations, but not much narration. So I think it's been really good over the last couple of years that there's been much more discussion about the Amiga as a whole. So, and to get people using their Amigas in a creative way has been a very worthwhile thing. And certainly with what we've received on this very first of the Amiga art contests has been it's been a perfect validation of that. So.
Yep, I agree. The other thing that excited me was a few months back, Aeon released an updated version of Personal Paint 7.3C, which is a brand new update to a paint program that's been around for years. I think probably 80% of us have it on our Amigas, maybe an older version, version 6 or version 7.1. The new version came out, and I'll be honest, I had issues with it. It wouldn't work on 68,000 based Amigas, but I got in touch with the guys. They sent out some patches, they did some fixes, and it works pretty well. And while it's honestly not as powerful as Deluxe Paint, I think Vicky will agree to that, it does have some really cool features that Deluxe Paint doesn't. For example, the ability to work directly with a retargetable graphics card. So on my Amiga 2000, which is behind me there, that has a nice retargetable graphics card, I can actually work in personal paint in 256 colors, which is really kind of cool. It opens up AGA images just fine. Um, so I thought, well, what better way to introduce this new product, well, this new update to the world, than offering it as a prize for people who enter the contest. And so we teamed up with Aaron and Jeff from Amiga on the Lake. I don't think they're in the chat. I don't know. They've been very busy lately. But I teamed up with them, and they actually sent donated 3 copies of Personal Paint 7.3C that we'll be sending out to today's winners of the art contest. Now, before we go any further, let me take a quick peek at the chat here and see if we missed anything. Oh, hey, there's Pickle Vixen. Just 80, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And Vicky, if you see something in the chat that we should bring attention to, go ahead and call it out to me too, because my chat is behind my laptop window, which is why I have to tilt my head to see it.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff going on there, Doug, so I'll try and keep an eye on it, and I'll try and reply to everybody here as well. So just want to make sure that I'm present in the moment as well. So
absolutely. So we did 3 different categories for the art contest. One of them was hand-drawn art, which is anything that you've done on any Amiga. Doesn't matter if it's an Amiga 500. Doesn't matter if it's one of the Amiga 1 A5000s. We wouldn't even care if it was done on something like MorphOS or Eros, as long as it was done on an Amiga. Generally, hand-drawn is what we were looking for in this part of the competition. The second one was photos. And this is the one that I do mostly on my Amigas. I spend a ton of time on Art Department Professional and Grim, which is a free program I've mentioned a few times in a couple of other episodes. I want to really get into image effects, but I've got to get my floppy for that. Amiga Bill said he was going to help me out getting a floppy for that. I'm missing 1 out of 6 of them. So taking a photograph, getting it into your Amiga any way that you want to, whether it's DigiView, whether it's DCTV, whether it's taking a JPEG file, which is what I do, and then just importing that JPEG file into your computer, and then doing something creative and fun with it. Not just putting a picture up, but just doing something creative and fun with the photography. We got a lot of entries into that. And then the third was 3D graphics, which I'm honestly surprised that we didn't get more entries for, considering how big the Amiga was in the 3D graphics field back in the day with Imagine and Turbo Silver and Lightwave and all these great programs. I really thought we'd see a little bit more of that, but I think next year we'll see more of that. Any input on the categories there, Vicky?
Yeah, it pretty much sums up sort of my thoughts as well, particularly in the 3D part, because that was something that, back in the day, if you was looking at magazines like Amiga Format or CU Amiga, they always had like a reader's gallery sort of page and that, and you'd always be seeing sort of 3D rendered images from Imagine or say Turbo Silver or any of those other packages. So yeah, I would have thought a few more of those might have crept in, but c'est la vie.
Yeah.
For the first year of doing this, I feel that it was a very good turnout indeed. So
absolutely, and I think it'll be even bigger next year. So without further ado, shall we get into taking a look at some of these really cool pictures that have been sent to us?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I think I'm ready for that. So
great.
All good.
All right, this first image, let me just get this here. The first image is by Robin Evans. He did this on an Amiga 1200 using Personal Paint version 7.1. And this is a 16 color palette that he used in a PAL resolution. Now, I think this one's really cool. Number one, because I really like the neon look of it. I always find computer-generated neon really attractive for some reason. And my goodness, now that I look at it, that looks a whole lot like your purple in your logo, doesn't it, Vicky?
It sure does. Yeah, that sort of retrowave aesthetic. So cool stuff.
Hmm. I also like the fact that it's so Amiga oriented that he made something that was definitely Amiga oriented. Your opinions on this one, Vicky?
Yeah, I really like how the sort of like the if you got the colours for the glow and all the rest, it really sort of pops that sort of neon aesthetic. And yes, it's something that you don't see done very well these days, I think. So yeah, very really nice to see it, and I'm sure this is going to look great on the CRT as well because there's that natural phosphor glow is going to really pop. So yeah, really good, really good, really good.
You know, that's an excellent point about the CRT. These are actually displayed on an LCD monitor. And that's because, you know, of course, as you guys know, if we try and take a video or a picture of a CRT, that you just get these crazy wavy scan lines and everything, and it just didn't look good. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay,
Hmm.
so let's stick with the Amiga theme for a moment, and we're going to bring one up from David Wright. Actually, a few of them from David Wright. And this first one is called Amiga Office. And he did this directly on an Amiga, and it was a very clever one. And I think you'll see what I mean when I say it's very clever, because he did an entire office in an Amiga 1.3 scheme where we've got a cool trash bench here. We've got our cool clock. We've got our cool notepad. And I just think that this was exceptionally clever. And I really think that I should redo the 10 Mark Studio in this same theme. What do you guys think? Would that look all right? What's your opinions on this one, Vicky?
I really like this one. There's just so many cool Amiga artifacts in this. I mean, from the notepad icon to the clock, the Amiga OS 1X style windows, that trash can. You've got the original Deluxe Paint one logo there. I think also the little photo on the desk is actually a scene from Defender in the Crown, if I'm not mistaken. I just really like this. It was immensely creative, and it's just a fun image that I was really absorbed by. It. Yeah, really enjoyed this one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, well done. So loved it.
You know, and I didn't even notice this, but on the actual computer, they're playing Marble Madness, which is, I think, one of the very early
Ah,
games for the Amiga. That's very clever.
well spotted. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. Yeah, it is, isn't
You
it?
keep noticing new
Yeah,
things. Great.
and this is what I like about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Now, David also sent in a second one. Now, there we go. Come on. Now, I personally think Jens from Individual Computers needs to send me a little kickback or something, because every time I change the screen on here, his Individual Computers logo pops up here because of the uh, equipment that I have plugged into my A1200. So here we have Bullwinkle the Moose in a nice lake scene or river scene with a lighthouse in the background. I'm a big fan of gradations in skies, and this one does a really nice job of making nice gradations that still look like it was done on a 16-bit computer, which it was. And I just found this one really nice and relaxing and calming. How about you, Vicky?
Yeah, that's a very good point about the calming vibe. It's got that lovely sort of early morning or maybe even late evening sort of color to it. And the color is just so well chosen as well, and the light sourcing is just beautiful on the side of the tree there. And yeah, it is just a beautiful image to look at, and yeah, just extremely well drawn. So yeah, another fabulous entry. So
Yeah, I really like this one. So those are David Wright's inputs here. Now, here we're going to find one from somebody that we all know and love, and I really hope he's in the chat today. This is our old pal, Intricate, or Eric, from Amiga Love. Now, I can't do it as nicely as Amiga Bill. Let me try to. Amiga Love. See, it's just not the same. I need Amiga Bill. I should have recorded it and put an MP4 in here of Amiga Bill saying that. It's the only way to really do it.
Oh dear, I'm not even going to try. So, oh dear, I don't want this to get an X-rated listing on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Let me just change my resolution here because it's deciding to do a funky thing with a resolution. Res. There we go. Now, I really thought this one was cool because he's harkening back to the 80s. I mean, every single one of us has seen the movie that this is from, Back to the Future. And this is all hand done. And on Twitter, he kept teasing us with little bits of this. He would show like a little bit of the fender that he was doing here. Maybe he'd show a little of the window, a little of the logo as he was creating it. So I actually felt like I was watching him create this image in slow motion on Twitter. So it was kind of cool. The colors are fantastic. This actually does look better on a CRT than it does on an LCD. I'll be the first to admit that. But just the whole idea of it is just incredible. I really appreciate what he did here. What do you think, Vicky?
oh, I just want to echo those sentiments as well, and I just love the whole concept. It just really comes together. I mean, as soon as Eric posted this one on Twitter when it was completed, I was just like, "Wow, this is a great image!" And just so many sort of pop culture references in this. It's just fantastic. It's just a delightful image to look at. Yeah, I just loved it, and I was a big fan of Back to the Future and combining that with the Amiga and obviously with the DeLorean as well. It's a very iconic image. I think it's all good, all good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This one was a 32 color image, is what he did on this one here. So,
Mm,
okay.
yeah.
Now, this next one, we have this fine gentleman in the chat, all the way from Sweden, Domus Dag Poten. And I probably butchered his name, but he knows exactly who I'm talking about. Whoops. If I could only click on the right one here. And resolution's correct. Illuminati confirmed on this one. This is great, and it's using a very limited color palette. And Domus Potent, if you want to chime in on the chat and tell us anything about this picture that you did, feel free, man. It is absolutely gorgeous, even with its limited color palette, which I think just enhances it quite a bit. It just really makes it pop. And let's see, we did this on Deluxe Paint 4 on an Amiga 1200. And everybody, subscribe to his Twitch channel, subscribe to his YouTube channel, and please put that link to your channels down in the chat. I hope that they work going down there. If not, I'll put them in the description. But he does some really great Commodore 64 and some really great Amiga stuff. Your opinions on this one, Vicky?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just love the color palette in this one. Sort of shocking pink, electric pink is all good. It really made me think of something that you had seen in sort of like one of the demos that you would have got in the sort of like around about the 1991, 92 era on the Amiga. It was really just I don't know, wouldn't have looked out of place in any of those, and I just loved the color palette choice. It was a lot of fun to look at this one and just sort of take in the hot pinkness of it all. But yeah, wouldn't look out of place in a demo. So awesome work. So
or as an album cover, that would be kind of a cool album cover too.
yeah,
What's an
yeah,
album?
yeah.
All right.
I don't have one to hand at the minute, but I'm one of those weirdos that still buys vinyl and CDs. So
Yep. Okay, so this next one, we're going to look at Jojo073 or Jose. Now, this guy, he makes some gorgeous artwork. And he also does some streaming on YouTube where he actually does pixel art right on the YouTube stream. Now, unlike Vicky, he's not teaching you step by step and telling you what's going on. It's just a live stream for an hour or so of him creating the artwork, which is in its own way really awesome and really cool. Makes for a very quiet stream, with just some music in the background, but it's still really nice. So I recommend you guys check out his YouTube channel. I'll also put it in the description. And if he happens to be here in the chat, please put your YouTube channel there. Back to the image. It's a little bit naughty, but that's okay. and very much in the Halloween theme, of course, here. Uh, I just love it. I just think that he does such fantastic work. That the colors, the gradations, and the fact that he did all this by hand just absolutely floors me. Um, any opinions on this one, Vicky?
Oh, tons.
Mm-hmm.
It's images. I mean, every image has shown something that I've really enjoyed, and has shown a great deal of, thought and care has gone into it. But it's images like this that make me think, what on earth is somebody like me doing judging this kind of contest? Because, this is just a great image. It really is. And Jojo's work is
Mm-hmm.
well worth following. He's also on Twitter,
Yes.
and yeah, it's a great image. It's incredibly timely. Um, it's obviously probably not a subject that I'd necessarily find myself painting, but it's just great to see so many different expressions
Mm-hmm.
in Deluxe Paint or pixel art in general, or Amiga art in general. It's just beautifully coloured. It really is. The subject is beautifully composed. It's a fantastic image.
Mm-hmm. And I'll never complain about a sexy witch. I just never will.
Oh dear, I've been referred to as the latter part of that. Perhaps not the former. So,
All right, let's take a look at another one from JoJo073. Okay, and this one puts me in mind of that video game from several years ago, which is now completely gone out of my mind, about the underwater city called Rapture. Oh my goodness, can't remember the name of it, but I'm sure you guys in the chat know exactly what I'm talking about. But clever image here, 32 color, and just a nice underwater theme with the ship in the background and the mermaid. Bioshock, thank you. Necronom and Anthony Jarvis, yes. What's your opinion,
ah.
Vicky?
Oh, just another fantastic image, isn't it? Really beautiful palette choice and so forth. It's just exquisite to look at. And the other hallmark of JoJo's work is beautiful dithering and so forth. That's always so consistent. And it's just a really beautiful piece. So uh, just lots of praise for it again. Really. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yes. Bioshock was the game I was looking for. I mentioned that in the chat. Big Daddy in Bioshock. All right, now this one, everyone will recognize this. This is the Borg Queen from Doctor Who. So yeah, I think everybody knows exactly what this is. Okay, it's Darth Vader, and I like the angles on this. And if he drew this completely by hand, I'm just flabbergasted with how he did the fine lines and the fine angles to really get the uh, the structure of Vader. And again, the gradations and the dithering beyond what I can do. Your opinions, Vicky?
Wow. I mean, at first when you said about Doctor Who, I thought, oh gosh, oh no, maybe it isn't Darth Vader. I'm not really into Star Wars
Yeah.
or sci-fi in general, so I thought, because it took me a while to actually figure out what this was, but I was still drawn into it. It's just, regardless of whether you immediately identified it or not, as was the case to me, it was just such an arresting image. The colours are just exquisite. In fact, this could easily be one of those pictures that is done in a 3D modelling package. The light sourcing is just incredible. It's got such sumptuousness to those blacks and
Mm-hmm.
the chrome sort of almost as I know it's not actually chrome, but those reflections just really pop.
Mm-hmm.
So amazing.
Well, if you're not sure who Darth Vader is, Vicky, we may have to have you turn in your nerd card. I mean, seriously, you got to watch Star Wars.
Yeah, I guess so. So. Oh dear. Maybe one day I'll watch it. So.
Yep. All right. Now, still with Jose, with JoJo, this is one of my absolute favorites here. Just something about this image, this black screen, something about this image just drew me in. Maybe it's because it reminds me of my old black kitty cat that I used to have, but I love the expressive eyes. I love the contrast in the image, the bright moon, and even the detail in the moon. I know it doesn't come in perfectly well on the video, but there's actually detail craters on the moon and things like that on this image. And I would just stare at this for minutes at a time. How about you, Vicky?
Yeah, it's another fantastic image, and one of the things that's not popping out on screen, at least here, is the fact there's actually a lot of detail in that moon behind as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also really love the way that the branch and the leaves just draws you into the picture. It's just a beautiful sweep there. It's again just gorgeous color choice as well. It just really sets the mood perfectly. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. 1 second, just typing. There we go. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Now we have one last one from JoJo, and this one is kind of cool, also, as you would expect. Also, one of my top pictures here. Sure, think that this is the owl from Harry Potter. Now, you do know who Harry Potter is, right, Vicky?
Yeah, yeah, he's my neighbour. He pops in for a cup of tea every now and then.
Okay, great. All right. But yes, reminds me very much of Harry Potter's owl. I honestly can't remember the owl's name. Somebody will correct me. But what I really like about this is a 16 color image, low resolution, 16 color, and the fact that you can bring that much detail uh, out of the owl's wings in just 16 colors just floored me. So I love this image here. What do you think, Vicky?
Well, just completely agree, really. Again, I sort of refer to my initial statement that, I sort of come away from this thinking like, wow, I got a lot to learn still myself. So, but that's kind of what's exciting about this is the fact that you're never done learning, you're never done sort of finding new ways of drawing, but it's just beautiful to look at. So, and yeah, just as you say, in 16 colours, it's incredible. It just goes to show what limitation really does to your creativity. You can really pull amazing things off with such low colour. So,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely, absolutely. All right. Now this next one is very, very unique in my opinion because it's totally different than everything else that we've been dealing with. And I just clicked on the wrong one. There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't want to go into her folder. So,
Yeah. There's nothing in there.
here be dragons.
Now this one is from Tim Trepanier. Okay, these were images that were created for professional brochures back in the day. He created them on Amiga 1200. They were originally 320 by 256 pixel images, and each one was its own 320 by 256 image, but they were, just small ones on each individual page. So I took some liberties and I brought them into one high resolution page. It still gets the absolute idea across of what he was doing, which is creating these for an actual job. Very simple, 4 color images, but I think it's cool that he did them for actual production. How about your opinions, Vicky?
Well, it won't come to as a big surprise that I have absolutely no idea what these things are, but I thought they were fantastically well drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to see actually, the Amiga being put to professional use, as it were, to create technical images like this. And the thing that this reminded me of was on the Graphicraft disc, one of the first Amiga Paint packages, there was actually some color cycling animations that emphasized that technical drawing could be done on the Amiga, and also Deluxe Paint. There are videos on YouTube from back in the 80s which show how its symmetry function could be used for illustrating sort of technical processes as well for education as well as print. So I thought it was incredibly interesting actually to see something that was all about a technical drawing and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And and they are extremely well drawn.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, I don't know what they are, but they're just fantastic to see the Amiga used in a professional capacity like that. So
Yeah, this Who Dinkus or What's It, Thingamajig, and yeah, that thing too. Mm-hmm. Now you know.
that's Harry Potter, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes, that's Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. All right. Now we've got a series of pictures from, let's find him here. Simone Bernaccia. Okay. And these were done from an unreleased JRPG called Holy Warrior that he was working on in 2017. And if you ask me, I think they need to go back and they need to finish Holy Warrior for the Amiga because he did some really cool artwork here. I'm just going to go through a couple of these because they're all kind of along the same theme, and then Vicky will chime in with her opinion. So we've got a nice bridge here.
Yeah, this is nicely drawn. Yeah, I love that. Sort of makes you think of many of the Zelda games for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is a nice colorful one here. Now you'll notice the different images that he's doing are in actual different environments that were going to be in the game. So again, I think they need to get back and finish this thing up. Let's bring up the third one here. A nice forest scene on this one. Now, what these reminded me of when I looked at these images and thought about the game were I was thinking of games like The Pawn that I used to have on the Commodore 64, where it would be a text adventure game, but it would be accompanied by color pictures to go along with it just to give you an idea of what's happening in the game. This is what sprang to my mind. I have no idea if that's the plan that he had, but that's certainly what came into mind.
and I love the again limited color palette, but yet so expressive still. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's fantastic to see that.
Yep.
So
Here's this last one. A nice desert view, which is the view from outside my front window, considering I live in Tucson, Arizona. Okay, it's not that kind of desert, but I like the lines in the sand here from the windblown sand. I think that is actually kind of clever. Okay, so those are some
yeah,
notes. Go ahead, please.
I was just going to say the only dessert that you see like that is the ones that are in my fridge. So in this part of the world, but yeah, no, I really like that. It also reminded me quite a bit of Dune 2 with some of the cutscenes at the start of that video game. So yeah, beautifully drawn. I really enjoyed looking at that those set of images.
Yep, I agree. Yep. All right. So next, we're going to go to Bruce Johnson, who actually put some things into two categories. We're going to look at his picture category here. Now, these he photographed on his CRT monitor, and he sent those to me. He said he couldn't send me the actual original images. So if you see any strange moire patterns or distortions, it's just because they're photographs that I brought into the Amiga and then cropped a little bit. But very colorful, very cool images. I think he had a lot of fun drawing these, and they just have personality. How about your opinions on these, Vicky?
Yeah, I mean, again, it was just the fact that it's just beautiful color choice, isn't it? It's actually nice to see some nice sort of colorful images alongside those that have got more restrained palettes or more naturalistic palettes. So, yeah, I'm just loving the fantasy theme here as well. So, yeah, superb images.
Yep. And let's take a look at another one that is in the same vein that he contributed. And who doesn't want a goblin with a nice expressive face like that? I mean, it just has personality. I think he did a great job in these images.
They are superb, aren't they? Just so expressive as well. So it's yeah, fantastic work, really superb. So
All right. Now, moving right along. These are pictures from another unmade game from Joshua Dolan. And this is some cool stuff right here. And again, we need to get on Joshua's tail and tell him to finish up this game. The game is called Witch Switch. Not available on the Nintendo Switch, only available for the Amiga. Now, he'd originally sent this to me as a kind of a demo where you could actually move around a little bit, but I can't get it to work because I don't have Amos on my machine and it's looking for some libraries. So we just have a nice picture grabbed from it. But I think you'll agree, if he can make a game with characters this size, sprites this size, in a scrolling game like he's planning on doing, that's really cool. How about your opinions, Vicky?
Oh, I love this. I mean, the original image is obviously not quite so skinny as this particular one, but as Doug says, was actually sent through as like almost like a demo that you could play, which I'm actually going to try and see if I can get running on my Amiga later on this evening if there's time, if not tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously got that wonderful sort of manga aesthetic as well, which I'm occasionally known to like, and but yeah, and gorgeous colours as well. So. And actually, the demo also adds in, according to the information sent over, a copper for the sky as well. So just gorgeous drawn, and it'd be great to see this actually turned into a game eventually. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, big love here for this style. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and Joshua actually pointed out that he did this in the game he's doing in 64 color extra half bright mode, which is not used enough. Never has been used enough on the Amiga. It's such a great mode and can add a depth that 32 color can't touch. And he also mentioned that he was tired of skinny protagonists in his games. He wants somebody with a more natural, actual human body look instead of just somebody in a tight bikini running around with a sword. And I think he did a great job of making a fairly realistically looking person there. So great job, Joshua.
Mm, yes, absolutely awesome.
Okay. Next one we have from Puni from the Amiga demo group Void. Now, these guys also do a disc magazine based on the Amiga, and I will put the description for that in this video. But he's a really nice guy. Actually, did a. Let me get this going here before I tell you. Actually, did an interview with these guys over email. That's going to be in their next edition of their online newsletter. So this one, I like it for its simplicity. I think it's very, very clever how he did the characters. I think it's very clever how he just very simply did this. And it looks very, very demo-like it came right off of a demo disc, which it probably did. So, your opinions, Vicky?
Oh yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that I was thinking of as well. Very much in place with a demo with a scroller along the bottom, and then you can almost imagine the kind of chip tune that might be accompanying this. So yeah, really does again sort of puts me in the vibes of maybe not quite as sort of 92ish as the others, but certainly sort of a demo from 1990. I could certainly see this on my Amiga 500, definitely. So
Mm-hmm.
great work.
Yeah, yeah. And definitely check out their disc magazine. Again, I'll put the link in the description. I think they're up to episode 9. They do 1 or 2 of them a year. So I'll put the links for their magazine. All right. Now we're going to move on to Mike Mijatov, aka Level Lord. And I've seen him around quite a bit. Let's bring up this image, which I think is fantastic. This one is very unique because it was done on an Amiga 5000, one of the Amiga 1 machines. And it's actually our only Amiga 1 project that was sent to us. I wish there were more, but that's okay. Now, I love this one. I really do. It was hand-drawn with a graphics tablet, which is kind of cool that they can interface with the Amiga 1. It's 800 by 600, which is fine. My Amiga can handle 800 by 600 with its little MK2 graphics card in there without any issues. I love this because of its crispness, its simplicity, its incredibly subtle color gradations that you see down through here. Just something about this makes me feel like winter. It puts me into the scene. And it just, something about this just drew me to this image. How about your opinions on this one, Vicky?
Oh, this is a fabulous image. It's again, it's one of those ones that you have to look at actually on your own screen because there's actually a huge amount of detail in the sky that is only just hinted at in the picture on the stream. But it's just so beautifully observed. It made I was thinking about this afterwards, and it reminded me for some reason of one of Pissarro's paintings. It's not Picasso, but Pissarro, one of the, well, I suppose he was like a founding father of the Impressionists. And there was a picture he did of Foxhill in Dulwich, or somewhere around there in South London, back in the 1800s, which was like a snow-covered scene. And even though it's quite a different picture, it really put me in mind of that. And yeah, there's just such an amazingly well observed amount of tone in this image. It's also got a certain sense of mysteriousness about it. It's quite eerie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just love this image. And as you say, Doug, to see an image that's created on an Amiga One. I mean, I don't think I'd ever be able to afford an X5000 or anything like that. But it's just really great to see not just art created on an Amiga 1000 or 500, but also the most modern of Amigas, if you will. So superb work. Really, really absorbed by this
Mm-hmm.
image. So
Yep,
yeah.
I agree. It's a very lonely image. You feel
Mhm.
very isolated, and if you're out there in this field, you just get the impression of loneliness and isolation, and you just love it. You can probably tell that though.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next images are from our good friend Phil Heron, who many of you know online as FS Phil. He's on quite a few streams. Let's get old Phil up here. He did these back in 1995, which was quite a long time ago. I didn't even know I had announced this contest back then. The first one is Don't Fear the Repper, which is supposed to be Reaper, and he laughed because he said he didn't know how to spell back in the day. So let's get this up.
I'd certainly be fearing a rep, so coming around selling his towels and I don't know other products for public bathrooms or something like that. I don't know, so or carpet tiles or something. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm going to stop my humour now.
I love this. It's a nice D Paint 3 image. He created in Deluxe Paint 3 back in the day. Um, but I love the colors. I love the personality, the way it just makes you smile. Yeah, we've got a dead PC. Rest in peace, PC. But the tombstone's just so darn happy about it. I just love it. It has personality. How about you, Vicky? What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I liked this as well. It's the kind of image that I remember, sort of maybe not exactly the subject, but this kind of style was something that I remember doodling a lot in D Paint. I think a lot of us probably would identify with that, and it just brought back some of that purity. And yeah, as you say, that tombstone is mighty happy
Mm-hmm.
that they're dead. So yeah, so but I just guess that it was released from the perpetual hell of having to boot Windows 3.1. So I guess there's a moral to this
Mm-hmm.
story.
And FS Phil is in the chat. So hello there, Phil, and we
Yeah.
love your
Hey,
work.
Phil.
And thank you for making us smile with this piece of art, because that's exactly
Yes.
what it did. You open it up and you can't help but just go, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. It's great. So thanks, Phil.
this next one from Phil, this one is called Finish Render. He did it as a 3D render, but touched it up in Deluxe Paint. And unfortunately, it comes through kind of dark on here, but we're going to bring it up anyways. And Phil, if you want to chime in and type in what your ideas were behind this one, we've got a planet there, which is probably no Neptune, I suppose. That's the one with the. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to embarrass myself.
It's Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's Harry Potter. Hedwig from Harry Potter. But started it out as a 3D render and touched up in Deluxe Paint. So yeah, Phil, feel free to fill us in on your ideas behind that picture too. Now, this next person, people here in the Amiga community may or may not have heard of this person before. This picture is from none other than Eric Schwartz, who did Amy the Squirrel back in the day. Tons and tons and tons of Amiga artwork, tons of animations and videos back in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, Eric Schwartz was just a fixture in the community. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he did all of the animations in Super Frog too, which of course is a really nice game, but just incredible. When I got this from Eric, I'm like, wow, it's like a star has come out from the depths and sent something in. So let's bring his up here. This was done in PAL in 32 colors. And to me, this is the Amiga rising, not necessarily from the ashes, but just rising and still showing its strength after all these years. And maybe kind of a new dawn type of feeling is what I get from this guy. And I just think it's cool. It is so Eric Schwartz. And you cannot deny that this one is an Eric Schwartz work here. How about your opinions there, Vicky?
Well, I never thought I'd see the day where I would be involved in a art competition where I would be judging Eric Schwartz's work.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty surreal to me because he was a massive, still is, I suppose, influence with his early animations and so forth. I remember getting them on cover discs
Mm-hmm.
and all sorts, and waiting ages for them to load, and then just enjoying them and playing them over and over and over again when I was younger. So to see a piece of his work, and as you say, just so classically Eric, it's very indicative of his style, and 32 colours as well. The gradients
Mm-hmm.
behind in that sunburst are just absolutely wicked. Like really have to be seen in person to be believed. So yeah, just another stunning image, and I just I'm grateful that he is still obviously
Mm-hmm.
keeping some eyes on the Amiga scene,
Yeah.
really, to be honest with you. So, yeah, just beautifully light sourced as well, but you wouldn't expect anything else. So,
Right. Now, when I was talking to Eric about this, uh, I asked him if I could, at some point in time, do some kind of interview with him because I would love to have an interview on my channel with the one and only Eric Schwartz. And he didn't say no. He said he doesn't do many interviews. He doesn't have any kind of camera equipment to do any, video interviews. But he didn't say no. So I'm going to be in touch with him through the rest of the year, and hopefully we can get him on. And Vicky, I would absolutely love to have you on when we do an Eric Schwartz video. I think that would be the coolest thing in the world.
wow, yeah, that would be. I don't know. I'd be a little bit sort of. Don't really know what to. Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd feel a little bit sort of like wow. So yeah, superb image,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully not the last Amiga related image that we'll see from
Mm-hmm.
Eric. So
And he said he did this on an Amiga 4000T running an 060 with image effects, art department professional, and personal paint 7.3. Those are the products that he used for this. So that's cool.
yeah.
Amiga Bill says, send him a webcam. Yeah, it would be worth it to send him a webcam. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Now, while I'm thinking of it, my mother is supposed to be watching this stream. I haven't seen her in the chat, but if my mother, Joyce Gotford, is on here, hello, Mother. I love you. I hope everything's going good in Rockford, Illinois, and welcome to the stream.
I mentioned on one of your tweets, I don't know whether it was this week, but I've actually been to Rockford in Illinois, bizarrely enough, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
I was travelling through there about 15 years ago.
How funny.
I just remember stopping there. I know, I didn't stop for long. I just remember going through it, and it was a very overcast day in July, so we was headed towards the Sturgis Black Hills Rally in South Dakota. So, anyway, funny old world, isn't it?
It is. Small world.
So, hi, Mom.
All right. Now let's take a look at a relative newcomer, an unknown to the Amiga community, Amiga Bill. Just kidding, Bill. We all know you. We all love you dearly. This is some work that he did, and from my understanding, Vicky, he did this all on his own with no help from anybody at all. He submitted this on time,
Yeah.
no help from anyone, purely his own work. Is that what you understand too?
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see that there was no sort of third-party involvement in this. And also, what the thing that really stands out is Bill is somebody who obviously clearly understands the power of stencils. And so overall, you have to say for a completely solo effort with no involvement for any judges or anybody in a prize-giving capacity is extraordinary. So there you go. There's your winner.
Yeah, and he absolutely knows every hotkey. He has them all memorized, every hotkey for accessing the resources on there. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Bill, though, this is a fantastic picture. Absolutely beautiful picture. And I do know so much of it is your original work. And somehow Vicky's got resized there. Let me fix that. the ideas that you guys had for creating the reflections in the water. And this is the Amiga Boing Ball as dawn rising. This is not sunset. This is dawn rising, right, Bill? Is just really great. I love it. It started out as an extra half bright image, but by the time he sent it in, he said he changed it to a 16 color image, which just goes back to what I was commenting on a while ago. What we can do in 16 colors on the Amiga just absolutely floors me. Just, you know, that's 16 colors. That could easily be 1,000 colors if you ask me. So, what's your opinion on the actual piece, Vicky?
Yeah, so I'm not going to comment too
Mm-hmm.
much on the technicalities. But yeah, absolutely what you're saying. 16 colours, incredible. You know, what you can actually get when you just apply a bit of artistic vision. And that's what Bill had with this, you know, a very clear idea of what he wanted to create, how he was going to go about it, and so forth. And then just worked through maybe with some external input, the processes involved to actually realise that. So, but yeah, it just goes to show you what you can do, and yeah, it's just great to see that this actually came through as a high res laced image in the end in just 16 colours. So,
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to seeing this on a CRT sometime. So,
Yep. Now, these next images, I believe the creator of these images needs no introduction. It is our very own Pixel Vixen. And let's bring a few of these up here. Ah.
yeah, so if anybody's saying that this is a fix, don't worry. I'm not going to give Bill the prize, but I might give these ones the prize. So please do not tell me that I'm fixing it in Bill's favour.
I absolutely love this one. I love the high resolution graphics that you use. I know most of your stuff is in low res, but seeing something you did in high res and the sharp edges and the lines, just I think that's really cool. I really like it. If you
Mm,
have any comments on your own
yeah,
work, please.
it took me blooming ages.
Did it?
There you go.
What?
It did, yeah. I can't critique. Well, I could critique my own work, but that wouldn't be very fair, would it? On myself mostly. But yeah, it is nice occasionally to break out high res lace because obviously these days don't have to deal with the flicker that I would have done for much of my Amiga owning days. So definitely an underutilized mode. But if you've got an LCD with a SCART cable, RGB to SCART, definitely very usable these days. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. Let's bring up the next one here. And did you do that one entirely by hand too?
Yep,
Oh,
that was all done with this mouse that's here.
oh my
So yeah,
goodness.
that's probably why this thing's got RSI.
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, that mouse there. So crazy, but yeah, it's okay. You get used to
I love this one too.
it.
For some reason on the video, her skin tones are not coming through the way I like. They are actually much more natural skin tones, but they looked a little greenish. They're not greenish. They're real skin tones on there. I don't know how they're coming through on YouTube, but absolutely beautiful. What I really love are the reflections in the buildings here. I just think that that's so cool that you thought ahead enough and made actual reflections in the glass windows there. I just beautiful stuff as always, Vicky.
It's tricky to sort of when you're doing backgrounds, like because with pixel art you can go sort of like quite realistic with it, like JoJo's work and others that we've seen in the stream. It's very effective and so forth, but it all just comes down to your own preference to how you want to illustrate things, whether you want to go for a slightly more graphic style, and perhaps due to my lack of skill I go for graphics styles there rather than sort of photorealistic. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's yeah, I was pleased with those myself, even if I do say to myself. So, I'm going to pipe down now.
No, please. I tell you what, we love to hear from you, Vicky. You are who we look to for art knowledge in the Amiga community. You're the one. No pressure.
Well,
No pressure.
no
No
pressure.
pressure.
Yeah.
Now, this, I think many of us have seen this one being created from the very first pixel until I don't know if this is the finished product or not, but until now, we actually saw this on one of your streams, and we've seen updates on Twitter, and really coming along nicely. Really beautiful. Any input on your end?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I started streaming this on Friday evening, and literally, as people saw, I did a sketch during the day, during my lunch break at work, and I knew what I wanted to create, basically a backdrop for an animation, and I wanted to use extra half bright mode. Pretty much as you mentioned already, Doug, that it's an underutilized mode, and because I'm not going to be shifting the screen around, with scrolling and stuff, and just kind of characters over the top of it. It seemed very feasible to use it. So this is again just all drawn with a mouse on the Amiga 600, and yeah, it's not quite finished. There needs to be a little bit more work done with the electrical wires and stuff
Hmm.
like that, but that will be a last sort of touch, as it were. But it's actually based on a real scene from Narima City, just outside of Tokyo in Japan. Well, obviously in Japan, Tokyo. But yeah, so yeah, it's worked out really well. And to be fair, it looks. If you get, I will upload this somehow, or Doug will as part of the rest of the images. But if you get to see it on a CRT, it's come out how I wanted it to. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I love the stars in the sky. Those add quite a bit to it, and yeah, just a really lovely image. Okay, let's see what else we have here. And that image, you win a copy of Deluxe Paint 6 as soon as it's released. So,
Oh,
yeah,
brilliant! I'm
as
looking forward to that.
soon
So,
as
thank you, Dan.
Electronic Arts gets that out, it is yours.
Excellent. Dan being Dan Silver, obviously, not you, Doug.
This is,
I'm sure he's working on it right
yeah, I'm
now.
sure he's watching this video. I'm sure he's in
Yeah,
the stream right now. Um,
yeah, definitely.
Another lovely one that many of us have seen before. I think you worked on this on maybe even two of your live streams, or did you do this one mostly over Twitter? I don't recall.
Did I live stream any of this? I get the feeling I didn't live stream any of this. I think I just posted quite a few pictures on Twitter. But yeah, so this is all part of what will be the previous image is going to be used for. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is build up an animation disc or a couple of discs that will be a minute and a half of animation, and it will just be a sort of like a set of scenes from a sort of an imagined Lamma one half sort of kind of thing, which is one of my favourite mangas and animes of all time. So yeah, so it was one that I just drew by myself, but I did actually record some of the process, but I didn't record all of it. So, but you may see some speed draws soon. But yeah,
Oh,
Lamar and
mm-hmm.
Pichan.
I remember what I remember seeing about this. How you did all of the foreground with like the first 16 colors, and all the background with the other 16 colors. Uh, and that was just fascinating how you did that on a quick little, how you showed that on a quick little video, swapping between the colors. Really, really cool.
Yeah, so if you just go on my channel, there's a couple of streams in there, but the most recent video, which is top tips for better pixel art, have a look at that video. It explains about palette management, how I tend to go about it. But yes, foreground is 16 colors, background 16 colors, which allows me to separate things for animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and just a comment from the chat, Anthony Jarvis mentioned on your street scene that it really belongs in a video game. Hint, hint. So he wants you to get busy on your game that I'm sure you're working on.
Oh, thanks, Anthony. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to learn how to code properly now.
Yep. There we go. This one here. Okay. Yeah, the expressiveness of this one. Oh boy, her face is just a touch washed out compared to the original. You guys really like the original even better than this. But really nice, really great expression, great. You can really feel her emotion in this picture.
This one actually I drew just before the stream, so it started off as I usually do with a quick sketch. I can't actually let me just bring up Skype on here so I can see what I'm pointing. It started off as a quick sketch from paper, and then I basically jumped on D-Paint before we started tonight at around about 6:30, and yeah, and I managed to sort of get the basics of this one down in about an hour and a half. So it's nowhere near finished. It needs all the shading doing to it, but it will be paired with that street scene that you saw a minute ago. It's going to be part of that sequence. So I've got to draw a blurred out street scene, as it were, which I might just do with photogenics and blur the image that you just saw, but it's going to be part of that story arc, shall we say. So yeah, this was a very quick one, which needs a bit more work, but yeah. Thank you.
So basically, the rest of us spend weeks working on our art, struggling hours and hours at a time to work on art. And you start 5 minutes before the stream and create this gorgeous work of art. It's just not fair.
Sorry. Oh, we can't all be good at everything. I mean, like, I don't know who Darth Vader is. I mean, he's well, that's not fair because actually, I have to say I do know who he is. He's Harry Potter's
Yes,
uncle.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh dear.
Let's look at one more Pixel Vixen work of art here. This one I love, and I actually used it on the covers or the thumbnails of the video you and I did together reviewing Personal Paint 7.3. Just absolutely love this one. This one is so beautiful. I mean, it looks like she's reaching through clouds. I know it's through flowers, but I get the impression that she's actually like reaching through clouds when I look at this thing. Just really enjoyed this one.
I'm a bit of a sap for my moe anime and so forth. So yeah, this is Yui Hirasawa from one of my favorite animes, K-On!, which is completely saccharine. Most of you will probably be sick from watching it because it is incredibly saccharine, but I love it. It's good fun and create a cute Yui image. So
Mm-hmm.
why not?
You succeeded. All right. Now let's move on
Thank
to
you,
our
Doug.
next category. Now the 2D art category was by far our most popular. I think we had 35 or so images we went through there. The photo category is a little smaller, but we've got some incredible stuff in here. Let's start out with. Let's keep the Amiga Bill momentum going. We just talked about him a few minutes ago. Let's look at some of his photos. This one
Hmm.
I really enjoy. And please, Bill, chime in on the chat and tell the guys a little bit about this. But I know you did this, I believe you said in Morocco. Is that correct? You took a picture of this guy, and this is a 16 color image, which just floors me. Again, just the fact that it's 16 colors. The only way you can even tell is because you can see a little pixelization in the dithering here. And he also did it a very clever way where each of the individual colors he created as a little block down there. And wow, really impressed. How about you, Vicky? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just love this image. I sort of commented a bit on it on Amiga Bill's stream that I allegedly helped him create a picture on, but the facts may vary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the other thing I wanted to say about this image that I probably didn't in the stream, it also made me think of sort of National Geographic. Back in sort of like the 80s, well before the 80s, way back. But up until sort of the 90s, a lot of their photographers would particularly like. Oh gosh, what was the name of the photographer that took the picture of the Afghan girl?
Mm-hmm. I know who
But
you're talking
basically, a
about with
lot
the
of their
beautiful eyes. Mm-hmm.
yes. Oh gosh, what was the name of that? His name. But anyway, a lot of those photographs are always taken on a film called Kodachrome, and sadly no longer made. It's not been made for about 10 years now, but that was always my go-to slide film, and it really just reminded me of that sort of real National Geographic look. Superb image, and in 16 colors. It's just jaw-dropping. So
Please don't take my Kodachrome away. Great song, by the way. Mm-hmm.
indeed, yeah. Yes, no, I'm not doing any more singing. So
Oh, please, we loved it. Bill chimed in on the chat and said this was taken in Morocco for the cover of Destination magazine. Wow.
mm,
Our Emmy
yeah,
Award winning Bill. He's just a guy. All right.
yeah.
Now let's take a look at my.
Steve McCurry, that's the one. Thanks, Steve, man. Steve McCurry.
This is one of my personal favorites right here. This just amazed me. And again, I'm tooting this 16 color horn. This is 16 Shades of Gray. This is Mike Tyson that Bill took, and he touched up the tattoos by hand because they'd faded a little bit too much. And in the picture, you can't see it quite as well as you can in person, but you can see the tattoos coming all the way over here too. And just the fact that this is a 16 color image modified on an Amiga, it just floors me. I love this picture. It's so great. How about you, Vicky?
I love it as well, and I do encourage everybody afterwards to download these pictures and enjoy them yourselves. Because one of the things that really struck me about this picture when I saw it on stream on Wednesday, I think it was, but also I had seen the image before, is how much it looks like a silver gelatin print.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a real luminance to the tones in it, and as you say in the video capture of the screen, the cheek is burnt out mostly, but the level of detail in this image is just incredible. It's just got beautiful
Mm-hmm.
tone. You can feel almost like the silver in it. So superb image.
Mm-hmm. And if anybody wants to take a closer look at this particular image, Bill has put it up on Twitter. And Bill, if you don't mind putting your Twitter information down in the chat too, and also on Facebook, and you can take a closer look at them. They're just gorgeous images.
Yep, awesome work.
Keeping up with the Bill theme here, a nice relaxing one. This one he did for the Retro Hour, as a matter of fact. And I believe Ravi is still in the chat. I know he was there earlier, so I think he'll recognize that logo on the left-hand side. If you guys don't listen to the Retro Hour podcast, you have to start listening to the Retro Hour podcast. Dan Wood, Ravi Alberts, and Joe, my goodness, they have the best guests available on there. And yeah, I'll be available soon, Ravi, so anytime you want to give me a call. No, just kidding. But Bill did this one for that podcast. This is in high resolution, but in ham 6 mode, so it's really only usable or viewable on an AGA machine. But it is using ham 6 4096 colors instead of ham 8 at the 262,000 colors. But even so, my goodness, the detail that the high resolution ham can get, that the sun rays coming down through there, the ducks, which he modified there, he added the ducks on there, or two of the ducks. Phenomenal, phenomenal. Vicky, what do you think?
Yeah, I love this image as well, and obviously I'm a big fan of the retro era as well. As you say, amazing guests. They had Michael Katz on a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, they've had quite a few Amiga luminaries on there as well, such as Dave Haney. So yeah, it's a fantastic podcast. But again, it just goes to show that ham mode is so versatile. It really just sort of showed that the Amiga was well ahead of its time in terms of graphics capabilities, albeit that this, yes, you do need an AGA Amiga to get the high res laced version of this image, but all the same, it just goes to show just what the Amiga was capable of, really. So, yeah, beautifully worked on image. So,
Retro Regram is in the chat. This is Jeremy from Double Sided Games. Definitely check out the stuff that Jeremy sells on his doublesidedgames.com website. Great stuff. But he mentions that he should have read the rules of the competition better and submitted a photo. But he says he's far from the talent of like the Guru Meditation. You're going to find out in a few minutes when you see the pictures that I submitted that talent has nothing to do with this at all. Nothing. So please, next year, even if you don't feel like you're a professional or anything like that, submit them. We'd love to see them. And everything has value in this competition.
absolutely, I'd just like to echo that as well. It's not about, you know, I mean, obviously, I won that Amiga 1200 at Swag recently. It's probably about the first thing I've won since the drawing competition when I was all of 6 years old. So yeah, this is, and hopefully, the comments are positive and that they're helpful, and and yeah, we just love seeing people using our Amigas. That's what it's all about, is sharing that love. So yeah, don't let it put you off.
And there have been absolutely no bad submissions at all. Everything in its own way is so unbelievably creative in its own way. There's not been a single poor picture in this entire bunch, if you ask me. Now, this next one, this is another Amiga luminary. This is Dan from Lemon Amiga, and I don't know if he's in the chat. I haven't really seen, but again, if you've never been over to Lemon Amiga, go over to Lemon Amiga. It's one of the best Amiga centric forums out there. And Dan, also known as Old School, submitted this one, and we'll bring this up here. And I'd also like to personally thank Dan because he sent me a nice long email with some great advice on how to present the art competition and some things that he's done in the past. So he's been very helpful to me. So this one is a digitized image of Cato the Younger. And this looks like something that you would want to put in maybe your history class PowerPoint presentation or something like that. And I think it's really good. It really picks up the details of the scanned image well, and really shows something different than just a regular photograph. How about you, Vicky?
Yeah, I think there's some really good comments actually, Doug. And also the other thing it reminded me of was very much those like multimedia presentations that the Amiga was very much used for. You know, like the London Transport Museum for many years used modified CD32s for their point of information, various exhibits and stuff in well into sort of like the late 90s or so. And yeah, this is the kind of stuff that was the Amiga's bread and butter. Really, was doing those kinds of multimedia kiosks because they were ideal for it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a great example of this kind of style of use of Amiga graphics. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fabulously worked on.
Yeah, yeah. It would fit perfectly on like a Microsoft Encarta CD or something like that, like we used to get back in the day, the encyclopedias. Yeah, it fit perfect on them.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
because this just popped into my head, I want to mention it. Uh, Vicky here, her video that's coming in through Skype uses a technology called NDI, which takes video from almost any source, converts it into like a network protocol, and brings it into OBS. Now, the reason I mention this is because NewTek is the company that created the NDI technology, and we all know NewTek for the DigiView, for the video toaster. They are still alive and well, and I just thought it was really cool that I'm actually using NewTek technology to bring Vicky into the stream. So thought I'd mention that.
That's very cool info. I had no idea about any of that stuff, Doug. So yeah,
It's brilliant.
respectful knowledge.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I'm using NDI in a few minutes. We're going to be bringing in some MP4 videos uh, for the 3D competition, and those are actually coming in through NDI also. So it's a cool technology, and if anybody's streaming, look up NDI. It's some really great stuff, and it's
Oh,
free. Free
awesome.
is good. Okay,
That's incredible.
now let's look at this one, and this is so nice right here. This is done by none other than Invent71, and Invent has been doing graphics for games. He's involved in the Iridium Kickstarter, which Amiga Bill did a show on a couple of months ago, and I'm a proud supporter of their Kickstarter. Iridium is the spiritual successor to Uridium on the Commodore 64 and on the Amiga. It's a great game. I'll put the link down in the description of this video, but Invent does an incredible job. His name is Kevin, as a matter of fact. And Vicky, what are your opinions on this picture here?
I was floored by this. It is, if I'm not mistaken, another extra half right image.
Mm-hmm.
It is in high res though, so again you'd need to look at this on an AGA Amiga, but because half bright is only in low res or low res interlaced on your OCS or ECS Amigas, but yeah, I just loved it. Very put me in mind of Time Out magazine and mid '90s sort of clubbing culture and so forth here in the UK. Yeah, just really floored by this image. Beautifully processed afterwards. Yeah, just yeah, very arresting image.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I absolutely love this image too. Just something about it obviously catches your eye. I mean, how can it not catch your eye? But it's very creative, and the way he keeps the skin tones consistent in that really interesting color he did. It's just absolutely amazing. And yeah, this is 64 color, extra half bright, and I'm sure he told me what program he used to create it in, and I forgot to write it down. But wow, yeah, this one really impressed me to no end. I really like this one.
Mm.
Okay.
Great work.
Yep. And then we've got this other character here. Douglas. There you are. Um, this is submitted by a gentleman named Douglas who hosts 10-minute Amiga Retrocast. This first one, my wife and I and my stepdaughter went to Las Vegas and then to the Grand Canyon about a month and a half ago and just had an absolutely wonderful time. This picture I took in the Grand Canyon, and it's a tree, half dead, of course, with the canyon in the background. It is absolutely tack sharp on my photograph. I intentionally played around with the depth of field on it to get a very sharp foreground. But I thought that would make a cool painting. So I took it into Personal Paint 7.3 and I converted it using some of their filters that they have into an oil painting. So you can see that the sharp edges now look like brush strokes on here. And I just thought it was I thought it was nice. I thought it had a really good look as an oil painting. Any opinions on it, Vicky? I have thick skins. Go ahead, tear me apart.
No, I'm not going to tear you apart, Doug. So your mum's watching. But no, seriously speaking, it's really cool that you've been able to use some of the things that Personal Paint offers above and beyond Dulux Paint. So it's filters and so forth. It's really nice, and and obviously that light behind is beautiful to look at. So yeah, very creative use of those filters. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. And I intentionally on mine used Personal Paint quite a bit. I used AdPro a lot too, but I tried to use Personal Paint since they're part of this competition here too. This one, this is a casino or a hotel in Las Vegas, and it really, really looks like this. It looks crooked, like it's about ready to fall over, but that's its intention. And the neon lights and the colors, this is what it looked like to the naked eye too. And it was just, I love the original picture. But what I did is I took out the sky, which was, a nice black sky, maybe a few clouds, and I put in kind of I tried to go with a neon gradation, but it didn't get quite as neon as I would have liked. But I found this really cool gradation theme to put in the sky to just make it look, I don't know, psychedelic might be the word that I'm looking for. But I just thought it was a neat effect. You have any opinions on this one, Vicky?
Yeah, I do know. I was thinking of like lightning or something like that, perhaps. But the sort of is it Ghostbusters 2 or something like that at the top of the building, and it's all about to kick off with the Keymaster. But yeah,
She does know her
but I hadn't
movies.
even. Yeah, see, I've been watching them for quite a while, so I quite enjoy Harry Potter. He does a fantastic wine tasting program on BBC Two. But I do know my stuff, so. But yeah, I didn't even notice that building was crooked behind until you pointed it
It
out.
is.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a trip. What I'll do, Vicky, is I'll send you a copy of the original photograph. It is
yeah,
really, really cool. It's just beautiful.
yeah.
Now,
That's cool stuff.
if this does not win this competition, I could not tell you why. This is the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas converted into a giant stompy robot blowing up buildings. If this doesn't win, there's something wrong with the judges. So I just had fun with this one. I looked at the picture and I thought, I could make a robot out of that. So I did, purely for fun. Any opinions on this one?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, no, but I have to give credit. If you notice in the background, that hotel clearly shows a shadow that has been modified, so that's very nicely observed, and it also actually puts me in mind a little bit of there's the aerial cable car thing across the Thames in East London. So, although this Eiffel Tower has more menacing intentions, so
and a laser beam.
yeah,
and a laser beam.
And a laser beam. Yeah, I mean that's exactly what Gustave Eiffel had in mind when designing the Eiffel Tower
Sure.
for the Grande Exposition. So yeah, no, an interesting take on the subject. How's that?
Yes, that's very neutral. I appreciate that. And he's even got little stompy smoke coming up here. I don't know if you noticed the stompy smoke as he's stomping through Vegas. So
Oh dear. Well, I think this comes back to a bit like Phil's image. It's one that's making me smile a lot. So
Hmm.
very, very enjoyable image to look at. So
Yep, just for fun. Okay,
yeah.
let's move into the 3D realm here. This one, we didn't, like I mentioned, we didn't get a tremendous amount of submissions, but the submissions we did get were really cool. This one is also by Invent71, and it is an actual animation. I loaded it up in Personal Paint instead of in AdPro because it's an animation, and that's wrong. Let's see, get over to Personal Paint here. There we go. Sorry, Amiga's freaking out. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. 1 second. I'm switching over to Personal Paint, but not clicking on it to make it, the screen active. That's what I did wrong.
Ah.
There we go. That's what I'm trying to accomplish here, people.
Mhm.
Really cool. I absolutely love the colors. I love the colors he picked. It does remind me of Invent's other work where he did the psychedelic colors in the picture of himself in his self-portrait. And the fact that this part of the cube is perfectly stationary while everything else is rotating so nicely. I'm floored by this image. Um, I've actually kept this running on my Amiga for like 2 or 3 hours in the background while I'm doing other things, and I just glance over at it sometimes and think, yeah, that's really cool. So really, really like what he did with this one. Do you have any opinions on this one, Vicky?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's got those beautiful icy cold blues and so forth. It's just a fabulous animation, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And sort of rendered out to perfection. And it sort of also reminds me a little bit of like an image that would be perfect for a screensaver. So yeah, a great piece of 3D
Mm-hmm.
animation here, rendering. So yeah, great
Yeah.
work.
This, I'm going to ask Invent if I can use this in some of my videos as kind of a please wait loading type of thing, like, or an intermission type screen. It'd be perfect for that, back in a minute, and you've got this cool 3D rotating ball. So I'll put a message out to Kevin and see if he'll let me borrow this on some future videos.
Mhm. Yeah, no, great work.
And I just tried to use my Amiga mouse to work my PC, and that does not work. All right. Now,
You need to install a driver for it.
let's take a look at some more stuff by Bruce Johnson. These are some 3D images, some 3D animations, as a matter of fact, that he created. And again, he couldn't send me the originals, so he just took a video of his screen. So I've got them set up as MP4 files, and we're going to see how this comes across right here. There. Now, I think everybody probably knows who Steve Clifford from Amiga Passion is. He does recapping service in the UK. Fantastic guy. And this is an animation he apparently did for Amiga Passion. I just think it's really cool. I think it's a great job. I think it's exactly what ray tracing on the Amiga is all about, with all those cool reflections that we just never seen before back in the late 80s and early 90s. Do you have any opinions about this one?
Yeah, no, it's really great to see Bruce obviously doing a bit of work here for Steve. I've used Steve for a few bits for my
Mm-hmm.
Amigas. Amazing
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
But it's great just to see sort of like the Amiga being used to create something that is for professional use for a business promotional means, and it's clearly obviously current as well. We're not looking at a brand from the mid 90s here. It's just great to sort of see such sort of those beautiful chrome sort of or metallic tones and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really enjoyed sort of seeing the Amiga being used for a professional promotional capacity in the present day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let's close that one down, and we'll bring up another one from Bruce. This is I don't even know what shape this is, um, but a really cool 3D spinning image. Really shows you what the ray tracing can do and the reflections can do. And it's just a really great, fun 3D image that he created. Vicky?
Yeah, that checkerboard sort of reminds me a little bit like of the Boing Ball
Mm.
demo and so forth. But yeah, I just love looking at images like this. It's sort of like the kind of images that you started to get in sort of AGA demos towards like the latter part of the 90s and that. And but yeah, it's just beautifully light sourced again. Again, just another very arresting image to look at. So quite trippy as well with the way the background is all sort of distorted in the background as well. So
Hmm.
great work, Bruce. So.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, so we've come to an end of the actual images that were submitted to us, and there were a lot. I mean, this stream's been going on for uh, almost an hour and a half now, and this is the first year that we've ever done this. I think if we get the message out even more next year, it's going to become even larger. Um, in the chat, if you guys would like to maybe give your opinions on what your personal favorites were, I think that would be kind of fun. If you've got an idea of which one maybe deserves the votes, you know, vote away. We've already made some decisions, but I would love to see what everybody else feels. And yeah, I know Bill's going to vote for his own stuff. We all know that, but just kidding, Bill. Um, but yeah, we'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Now,
Yeah,
go ahead, Vicky. You have something to
I
say?
was just going to say also, just again, I think just on behalf of both of us, just to extend our big thanks to everybody and the way that they've taken this up and that they've contributed. And it's just been a delight to go through them. So, what an amazing array of pictures. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, really enjoyed
Yeah,
this.
it really has been fun. It's been fun getting to know people better, getting to know the artwork they've created in the past, and kind of just tying things together with what people do has been just fascinating. And I'd love to absolutely make this an annual thing. I hope you'll continue to help me out with it, Vicky. But I'd love
Hmm.
to have the Amiga Art Contest 2020 and make it even bigger. I think that would be a lot of fun. So definitely spread the word about it. Um, shall we move?
I was just going to say that could
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I'll definitely be up for that. Of course, obviously, I shall be in Japan next year, so that would be a very interesting time zone difference. So I think that'll be about 18 hours or so ahead. So yeah, that could be interesting.
What we this community is being all over the world. I mean, we've got people in the chat from the UK, from the United States, from Sweden, just literally all over the place. And it's just
Mm.
wonderful that this medium that we have, this internet medium, can bring us all together and tie us together in ways that we've never been able to in the past. And I just love it. I just really do.
Yeah, yeah, it's just great to see the Amiga is so loved around the world. So kudos everybody. Let's keep the Amiga alive
Mm-hmm.
and keep it loved.
Mm-hmm. Now we're getting to the point where we need to mention some winners who are receiving our beautiful. Let me reach over here without knocking everything over. Sealed copies. Yep. Sealed copies of Personal Paint 7.3C. You can also download this. I can just send you the code. You can download it off the internet with their special code. I'm not going to tell you what the code is, though. That's a secret. Um, these were graciously donated by Amiga on the Lake, so thumbs up to them. They're in North America, but they ship all over the world. They've got some really great products. Um, I've got an interview with the guys about 2 months ago or so on my channel if you want to learn more about Amiga on the Lake. Um, let's talk about the winner in the 2D category first. This was hard because every
Mm.
single image just impressed the daylights out of me in some ways. Every single image was submitted. You know, most of them were submitted by people I consider my friends too. You know, so it's difficult to really come down to just one where you want to say, okay, this one takes a cake because they're all so darn cool. What are your opinions on that, Vicky?
Oh gosh, this was so difficult to judge. It really was. There was some incredible work there, and I feel that being a judge is so difficult. And truly, it was a very tough decision. But there were definitely some images that I think spoke to both of us,
Mm-hmm.
and Yeah, I just think, again, just echo the sentiment that it's amazing that we've got such talent in the Amiga community, and long may it continue. And for those of you who have entered and this wasn't the year, shall we say, all I can say is keep doing what you're doing, because you're all amazing, and and it just brings such pleasure to everybody, myself included, seeing such amazing creations. So just keep clicking, keep
Mm-hmm.
drawing. Awesome stuff, guys.
And the winner is, let's bring this up here in the proper resolution. Kind of anticlimactic because I have to choose the screen mode manually. Excellent.
So this is a bit like on those dance off programs and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The one with Darth Vader and Harry Potter, and
Yep.
doof, doof, doof.
And we both agreed that
Yeah.
something about this image just absolutely floored us. Just something about it from Mike, or Level Lord as he's known, just brought out some emotions, brought out a feeling of what this picture is trying to represent. That this one to us takes the cake.
Yeah.
Vicky, any
Yeah.
opinions?
I think it's tons. But yeah, this is a picture that, just to reiterate, you have to see in person. But as somebody who sort of lives in quite a rural area, I guess, to an extent, and has spent much of my time exploring wildernesses and stuff, and yeah, it just really sort of touched, not so much a nerve, but a point in my own understanding of what I enjoy in life.
Mm-hmm.
I can see myself sat here just absorbing the environment, and I just yeah, it just really very evocative
Mm-hmm.
image, and yeah, just great to see such thoughtful artwork being created on an Amiga. So
Mm-hmm.
awesome work, awesome
Yeah,
work.
I think that's totally accurate. You can just sit and look at this image and kind of find more in it and feel more in it as you sit there and look at it, and little intricacies of the image just really, it did something. It called out to me. So yes, this one from Mike Mishatov, aka Level Lord, done on an Amiga 1 X5000, is the winner in the 2D art category.
Yes, well done, well done.
Yeah. Now, let's take a look in the photo category. I think everybody will agree that there's only one possible winner in the photo category, and that would be Las Vegas Robot. I mean, is this the one we chose, Vicky? Is this the same one we agreed on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, it was a little bit touch and go, but I've just checked my bank balance, and I can confirm that this is indeed the winner. So, Mom, you should be very proud of your son. He's done an amazing piece of work here. So, yeah, enjoy that copy of P Paint, Doug.
Okay, it's not really Las Vegas Robot. It should be, but it's not. The one we chose
Yeah.
is the one from Invent 71, just because it is so creative, so impactful, and just you just look at it and you go, wow, that's trip. That's really impressive. It just says so much to me, and I think it says so much to Vicky, and it was incredibly difficult. It really had to go back and forth on this one to come up with one, because some of the stuff like Bill did was just phenomenal. The Mike Tyson one, I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite pictures I've seen on an Amiga. But the winner in this category goes to Invent 71. Your opinions, Vicky?
Well, yeah, this was another incredibly tough category to judge. As you say, there were so many strong entries, like the Vegas Robot one, and also some of Bill's work, and we really struggled to sort of pick a winner. But in this case, I just love the use of extra half bright, as Doug has said earlier on in the video. Very underutilized Amiga mode, but the image it really makes the hairs stand up, as it were. It's just such an interesting image. It's yeah, just everything about it. Just just draws you in. It just takes you into those eyes, and it makes you think of train spotting. It makes you think of so many cultural touch points and stuff. It's a fabulous image, and one that I'm definitely gonna pop it open every now and then and look at it on my Amiga
Mm-hmm.
and go, wow, that's a great piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And when you look at it on an actual Amiga, it's twice as beautiful as this. This is already a fantastic image, but when you open it up on an actual Amiga and you see the subtle gradations and the individual pixels and the work he did, it's just wow, absolutely amazing. But
Mm.
everybody else got second place. There's no third place or anything like that. It's winner, and then everyone else is second place. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So yeah.
Now let's get this off of here and let's talk about 3D. This was a very small category. We only had 2 people enter, and I think both of them are equally beautiful, without a doubt. The spinning cube that Kevin Invent 71 did, and the work that Bruce Johnson did. But what really pushed it over the edge for us was the fact that this was made on an Amiga for an actual existing company doing business. And it's such a cool thing, such a clever uh, animation, such a clever 3D effect that Bruce Johnson wins this one. It's a tough battle, but Bruce wins this one. Your opinions, Vicky?
Yeah, just to echo that again, it's just great to see people creating for other Amiga stalwarts in the community, giving something back, using their Amigas for what they're intended for, rather than just creating everything on a PC or a Macintosh or whatever these days. That we can use our Amigas. We all go on about how great the retro aesthetic is. Well, if you've got the time, then why not do your rendering on an Amiga? So yeah, fantastic submissions. And yeah, just really great to see Bruce working with Steve to create something here. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I've mentioned before, they're all so unbelievably fantastic. It's just you're looking at all
Mm.
these images, you're going, well, how do I pick the best one? What criteria do you use? Because each one is so unique and varied and has a different meaning and a different meaning for the author of the picture. It's tough, but
Mm.
I think we made some good
Hmm.
choices, and I think from the chat, I think most people agree that they're not bad choices at all, and I do appreciate that, and I look forward to looking back at the chat and seeing what other people's opinions are. Wow. Thank you so much,
Wow.
everybody,
Yeah.
for submitting to the Amiga Art Contest 2019, for being so supportive of myself and of Vicky in this process. It's really been fun. It's been enjoyable. And this is my first live stream that I've ever hosted myself. I'm glad that it went pretty well. I'm happy with that. And awesome. Any final parting words, Vicky?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks for all the chat, guys. It's been hard to keep up with it all whilst I've been sort of concentrating on the matter in hand, shall we say. But yeah, been some really fabulous chat there. So thank you for obviously watching, everybody, and also congratulations, Doug, on your first
Mm-hmm.
stream. It's gone very, very successfully. So, but also it's been an absolute thrill and a pleasure to be part of this, and I really am looking forward to next year's already. And yeah, I just think the Amiga community is at one of its best points that it's been in such a long time. From what I understand, I've been out of the scene from about the year 2000 till last year, so I can't really comment on those 18 years. But my sense is that we have a great community with the Amiga, and long may it continue. And it's been a thrill to be a part of
Mm-hmm.
this. So thank you so much, everybody. It's been
Yeah.
great. So
Now, I'm putting together a website, hopefully with some of Vicky's help too, called AmigaArtwork.com. Now, this was a recommendation from Eric from Amiga Love. He messaged me and said, "Doug, put these up on a web page," and he helped me find a couple of good ideas for web page names. So AmigaArtwork.com. There's nothing there yet, but I'll be working on it over the next week or two and trying to get these images up. And I also want to make it a repository for Amiga artwork in general. So if people want to show off their work, kind of a centralized place to go to put your artwork, to put your videos, to put your photos in nice categories that we can all see and we can all share. And I think that would be just kind of fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good because a lot of stuff actually does need to be shown, exhibited, and be readily available, so you don't have to turn on your Amiga. Which obviously I'm quite fortunate I can keep mine left set up, but for a lot of us it has to be dug out of the attic
Hmm.
or from the basement or whatever. So yeah, really looking forward to that little project. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. We've gone on for an hour and 40 minutes, which is pretty good. We've had up to, I think we maxed out at about 57, 58 viewers. We're at 49 now. Thanks so much. Please like the video. Please check out my channel, which is 10 Minute Amiga Retrocast on YouTube. I do videos every week, just about every week, both on the Amiga and also on our beloved 8-bit machines. I do quite a few videos on that. Please check out Vicky's channel. She does some incredible tutorials. I mean, she's just who you go to for Amiga artwork tutorials. I try and tell everybody about her. Um,
Oh, thank
Follow
you.
me on Twitter at 10mark1. Follow Vicky at LaPixelVixen. And expect to see Vegas Robot up in the Louvre any day now. I think that they're going to put that as one of their highlighted images. Uh, no? Okay.
Uh, I think you might have misheard them. It sounded like the Louvre, but it might have not had the last couple of letters on the end. So,
Oh, the
but
Lou!
it's
The
certainly
Lou! I got
the
you.
loo. Yeah, so it's going to be put up in the loo. That's correct. So, yes,
Oh my
bingo.
God, you cracked me
Which
up,
is,
Vicky.
well, somebody has to. So,
All right.
oh, no, it's been fabulous. I love that image.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to end the stream now. Thank you all very much for joining us, and we will see you soon. Thanks.
Yes, take care, everybody. Cheers.